He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya. Since Prince was on Apollonia. Since OJ had isotoners. Don't act like I never told ya. Don't act like I told ya.
You can believe in yourself.
All right, I think we're
encourage a student you know
whenever
to
they're ready
take
for
part
it.
in a high school sport. This message presented by the UIL and the Texas High School Athletic Directors.
There we are. We were left out of the show just like A&M out of the NCAA tournament. That was a line that Obi kind of gave me here a moment ago. Welcome into TexAgs Radio. I'm David Nuño, and guys, it is time to turn the page. Yeah, I don't want to turn the page, though. To be honest, I like to be upset about it, think about it for a little bit longer, but it is time to turn the page with the NIT starting later on tonight, A&M versus Alcorn State. Go support the Aggies with it being open to everybody. I'll be there. I'll bring even my folks out there. It'll be fun. But, yeah, look, we've had OB away from the show. He's been with the team in Tampa, so I can't wait to get things started off with him. So we'll certainly get into that here in a second. Just quickly, though, the A&M baseball team in action later on tonight, but that game has been moved up to 5 o'clock to make time for everybody to watch both baseball and basketball. And with that, we begin the Go Hour here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, my man, I missed you. How you doing?
I'm doing well, a little bit tired, but that's to be expected. You know, you'll find as you get older, travel takes more out of you.
I've already noticed that. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's good to be back finally after some delays yesterday, finally get home. So that was good. But still kind of have to admit I'm still irritated and annoyed and angry that the Aggies didn't get in because it was just an enormous screw job by the committee.
Yeah, it's a screw job. So I actually, since you're such a good journalist, I'm going to put you on a story, if you don't mind. Can I put you on a story?
Put me on the story.
Yeah. Can you find out why the NCAA selection committee turned in their brackets 3 weeks ago? Because that's exactly what must have happened for this outcome to have taken place. There's no way that they actually watched any basketball the last 3 weeks and left Texas A&M out of their NCAA tournament bracket.
It makes no sense. Not only that, but Tennessee beats Kentucky, and Kentucky's a 2 seed. Tennessee beat Kentucky 2 out of 3 times this year. Tennessee's a 2 seed. Is a 3 seed. Kentucky's a 2. And you can say, well, it doesn't make that big a difference. Well, then don't have seeding, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, the A&M thing is just travesty. I think there's so many teams because I had plenty of time after all my flights were being delayed to break down different teams against A&M's resume. And the NCAA selection committee acknowledged in their own rankings that A&M played a tougher schedule. It was more challenging than almost everybody that they picked ahead of them because they had 6 SEC teams in, and all of them were 6 seeds or higher.
Yep.
Like you look at the Big Ten, and I think 5 or 6 of their teams were 7 seeds or lower. So you can say, well, this team had one more quadrant win. You're going to, well, except wait a minute. Are all quadrant wins the same? Because the teams that Indiana might have been playing were not as highly ranked by your own rankings.
Right.
That A&M. And then Notre Dame gets in. How does Notre Dame get in over A&M?
Again.
Davidson Davidson was put in before their tournament, obviously, because if you'll break it down and look at what they did, their big win was by 1 point over Alabama, which A&M beat by about 15.
Right.
So Wyoming, and I looked it up, the committee, 7 of the 12 members of the committee represent either a mid-major conference, as in a commissioner, or a mid-major program, as in an athletic director. So maybe that explains why you see so many mid-major at-larges in.
Yeah, probably so. It kind of reminded me of my days in television, and I'm sure for you writing columns throughout the years, where not that I ever made this mistake, not that you made this mistake, but like you've already finished the piece, and now there's more information. You're like, do I really want to re-edit this story that I just wrote? Like, it's a lot of work to it's really not that much work, guys. Just put in the information that needs to be put in. You have these brackets set. How Tennessee was a 3 seed, like you said. How A&M doesn't get it. And there's other examples of it out there, but it is a travesty. And when I say they earned their way into the NCAA tournament, they earned their way by the way they turned around their season. If you look at just, and I brought this up a month ago or 6 weeks ago, whenever they were in the 8-game losing streak, and I was trying to find a way that they could navigate out. Was the committee going to be able to forget that 8-game losing streak? And I'm not asking them to forget it. I'm asking them to look at the totality of the season.
The totality of the season, yes.
What is the difference between an 8-game losing streak or losing 2 here, winning 1 here, losing 2 here, winning 1 here, losing 4 here, winning 1? You see what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing.
It's still
spread out by a week and a half.
Right. It's still losses. No, they had made up their mind before. It was obvious because, again, A&M beats a solid Florida team. That was a bubble team.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a number 2 seed, Auburn, and a number 4 seed, Arkansas. So if that doesn't get your attention. Now, what I don't understand is apparently they were impressed by Indiana in the tournament, despite losing a round earlier than A&M, having not the record that I think if I'm not mistaken, I might be, but Indiana I believe is 20-13. Well, A&M is 22-13.
Yep.
So A&M has more wins. They're playing a better conference. They just beat a team yourself as a committee seeded 2 and 4. But somehow Indiana, and I think it goes right. It's the same as football season. It's brands.
It's exactly what it is. It's brands. Like, that's why Indiana gets in. So I want you to take me through your journey there here for the remaining moments of this segment, because I want to feel like what it felt like when you got there, the vibe after they win against Florida, the vibe heading into Arkansas, winning that game, the vibe throughout the journey out here. Yeah. And then being there in the hotel when they did not get selected.
Yeah, well, you get there Thursday, and they're playing Florida, and it's not the big Florida crowd that you think. Florida follows their basketball about the way A&M does.
Yep.
So
I heard there was a big Auburn crowd though.
Yeah, there was a huge Auburn crowd, and they get the big lead on Florida and let it get away, but then they win on the last second shot. And people are like, "Hey, okay, that was a good game," And then you get into the next game against Auburn, and no one thinks that A&M has a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost to say it's a pro-Auburn crowd is just ridiculous. There was more Auburn people in the crowd probably than anybody, even though a lot of Kentucky people, and they have no problem rooting against Auburn, and so A&M gets off to a fast start, and people are like, hey, these scrappy little guys, because you could look at Auburn and A&M, and A&M's tallest player is that plays significantly is Henry Coleman,
right?
Who's what, 6'6" and change, probably
Maybe.
real,
right?
Even though they call him 6'8", and so you see these scrappy little guys, and it's fun the way they're playing, and they're moving up and down the court, and but Auburn will come back anyway. A&M finally pulls away and wins it, and Auburn's just trying to come back, and except for the Auburn crowd. Now the Auburn crowd was panicking, and I had some kids behind me, yelling for Auburn, and they were just really depressed. And Hefner had some nice game. I remember there was some Kentucky fans that were saying, way to go, Hef, your grandpa Hugh would be so proud of you and all this. So you saw groundswell of everybody except for Auburn fans really start rooting for A&M. It sounded like at the end of the game like a pro A&M crowd.
Kind of like the Rocky Drago fight. At the Russian crowd starts rooting for Rocky.
And then the Arkansas game. Now people are saying these Aggies are fun.
They're for real.
And they're for real. And then A&M gets off, the way they start
Yep.
in that game. And it's like everybody, except again for the Arkansas crowd, is just really starting to embrace A&M because they're the underdogs. They're the David to the Goliath. They're the guys, again, physically, they're not that big. They're the 8th seed. And, everybody loves an underdog.
Right.
And then the way they were playing that game, and they just dismantled Arkansas. So that made them even, I think, the talk of the tournament. Everybody was talking about A&M. And then, of course, they played Tennessee. And Tennessee is gigantic, and
good.
The old saying is that big fast guys typically beat big little guys.
Yeah,
or I should say, fast big guys typically beat fast little guys.
Yeah.
And I thought that A&M's 3-point shooting, even though they missed a lot of open looks, they also had a lot of their 3-point shots altered because they were trying to get it over these long guys out on the perimeter, and Tennessee's just so big and good. And John Thornton, we were talking before that game, he said, what concerns me is that you get an Auburn or Arkansas rattled, and they'll start taking some rushed or maybe poor selections on their outside shots. He said, Rick Barnes' teams won't be that. They're going to be more disciplined, and sure enough, they were. So John knows a thing or two about basketball.
Yeah, he does.
And then I go to get my article written, walk the half a mile or so to the A&M team hotel, and they have a ballroom set up with a big TV. Of course, you've seen it everywhere else. It's the same. And they come in, and I know they're very confident. And I go and talk to Ross Bjork, and he expressed that he was confident that A&M was going to get in. And then as the process went on, and you started seeing an Indiana in, and a Notre Dame, and a Michigan, and a Wyoming, and if you really are paying attention, I noticed Buzz Williams starts pacing, and a couple times he goes outside the room because I think that it hadn't really started to set in on a lot of the players yet. And then they get down to that last bracket, and, they go, and it's one after another, they're not getting in. And you can just feel this realism coming over, and a disappointment and an anger. I won't say who it was. I saw one player start to weep because in disappointment, when it was over, Buzz just said, all right, guys, let's get on the bus. And everybody just left, and it was that abrupt.
Yeah.
But what do you say? They were very frustrated, and rightly so, because what do you do when someone picks your pocket and, you turn around, they're gone?
So that's why today and the rest of this NIT tournament, however long it lasts, they need to go out and win it. And they need to smash it. And I actually looked at some previous NIT champion winners and how their season went afterwards. We'll share that a little bit later on in the show because it is important to do well in this tournament. It's important to give Quentin Jackson, I think, the proper send-off, what he's done for this program here the last month, but what he's done for this program during his time here at Texas A&M. So we'll get into that. Here in the next segment, OB, there are some changes there happening in college basketball, especially in the SEC. Some coaches are being fired. We'll get into that. We have some other things to get into as we break down this matchup against Alcorn State and the rest of the NIT tournament. Right now, though, it's time to talk the association of former students who have been doing it for a long time, over 140 years. Your financial gifts have empowered them to be here, there, and everywhere. And thank you for doing that, too, because it goes such a long, long way. And it's scholarships. It's for the kids, studying abroad, for Aggie brand, for ring day, class reunions, mustard, tailgating. That's what the association does. Really, that's what you do to help the association do what they do. But they do it because of people like you. that you're the why. IamTheWhy.com is the website. IamTheWhy.com is the website. Go check it out, because on that page, you're going to find these amazing human interest stories about Aggies just like you, who have had to endure a lot but gotten the help of the Association of Former Students. Their journey is a journey similar to all of ours, guys, and it's very empowering. It's such a beautiful story being told there. Many different ones are on there. I highly recommend that you go check it out there. The website is IamTheWhy.com. Remember, you're the why. So check it out. Find the stories out there. Eventually, you can share your stories online as well. It's going to be very captivating out there. IamTheWhy.com, the Association of Former Students.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Brazos County Master Gardener Spring Plant Sale is Saturday, March 26th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Brazos County Extension Office. Bring your wagon and load up. Join United Way of the Brazos Valley, Lions Pride Sports, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, at Fight to Unite on Saturday, March 26th. This week only, get your VIP experience tickets for 50% off. Go online to uwbv.org. The Museum of the American GI invites you to their Living History Weekend, March 26th and 27th. Visit AmericanGIMuseum.org for more information. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
The 22nd Annual Twin City Mission Golf Classic takes place on Monday, March 28th at the Traditions Golf Club. The format, 4-person scramble, 9 a.m. shotgun start on Monday, March 28th at the Traditions Golf Club. Sponsors are welcome, and it doesn't matter the level of involvement. You can be a sponsor for as little as $200 and sure, for more. If you'd like to be involved, be a sponsor, go now to TwinCityMission.org.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Or check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor. Here on The Zone.
The 66th Annual Brazos County Youth Livestock Show is March 19th through the 26th at the Brazos County Expo Center, kicking off with the Queen's Dance and Coronation. $10 in advance at Cavender's and Catalina Hatters, then a week of show and sale. Commercial steer premium sale is Tuesday at noon at the Brazos Valley Livestock Commission. The premium auction is Saturday, March 26th at 2. Special thanks to BTU, Texas Farm Bureau, Brazos County, American Momentum Bank, Aggie Land Chevrolet, Tomlin Plumbing, and Mechanical, and TMJ Electrical.
Sports Talk Madness is here. You have until Thursday at 11 a.m. to pick your 10 favorite teams of the tournament. Go to ChipHoward.com to the contest page, pick 10 teams, sit back and watch the tournament. Simple as that. Sports Talk Madness is brought to you by First Financial Bank. Don't be the only one not playing this week. Go online at ChipHoward.com and make your picks before 11 a.m. Thursday here on The Zone.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo. And so
I didn't pick the song, guys, just to be honest. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Definitely not on OB's playlist, or mine, to be honest with you. OB, let's, a couple things. Let's get to the A&B text line, by the way. A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank. Good Texas banking. The website is amb.com. You can be a part of the show on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. Got a couple text messages to get into here. We'll start things off with Adam in San Antonio, who says, Iowa State should be question 2. I think 7-11 in the Big 12, but their AD is in the selection committee, so maybe that does help.
It doesn't hurt, even though they're not allowed to be in the room, right, when they're talking about Iowa State, but doesn't mean you can't talk before to other people. Iowa State's another. I mean, you can go on and on. There's several teams that A&M should be in over.
Yep, 100% out there. What else do we got in here? We got one here from Steve in College Station. I know it's time to move on, but AP men's basketball came out yesterday, and Aggies receiving votes ahead of Alabama, Ohio State, Creighton, Indiana, Seton Hall, and Davidson. Rutgers, Wyoming, Notre Dame, Michigan, Marquette, TCU, and Iowa State received no votes. Similar story in the coaches poll.
Yeah, it's there is no logical explanation for A&M not being in the tournament other than, again, the committee did a horrendous job. They made the decisions. I'd say 95% of the tournament was, in their minds, was filled out before the conference tournaments, including seeding. And they felt like, I believe, that they have to get it all done in time for ESPN selection show.
Yes.
And so there's no room to react to a team that beat a number 2 seed and a number 4 seed. It makes no sense. This may be as bad a job, if not worse, ever. And I'll be really interested to watch how the SEC. I'm going to root hard for every SEC team to win in the NCAAs and hard for every Big Ten team to lose, just so I can. Well, I won't do this, but I'd like to send emails and everything to the. I think it's the commissioner of the. I can't remember which conference it is. Who's the chairman? Southland Conference. Right. And just remind him what a horrendous job they did.
Horrendous job. Which we need to reach out and get them on the show. Lance and Round Mountain. It's time for the Aggies to quit sulking over the fact that we didn't get into the big dance and head out to Reed Arena tonight to support the great men's Aggie basketball team in the NIT tournament. Let's show them the support that they deserve for their hard work that they put in. And yeah, I'm in a zone where I want to sulk and I also want to go beat the hell out of the NIT.
I think the time to stop sulking, I'm not even calling it sulking, I'm calling it raging, but is 8 o'clock. But
Yep.
up until then, I think we can still
and hopefully the team has moved on and they use that as motivation.
Well, I'll be interested to see that, because I don't know that that's something that you can just assume is the case, because I saw how, up close, just how devastated they were. And I'm talking that was less than 48 hours ago.
Yeah, no rest at all. Tappan College Station conspiracy theory number 1 is that it's more about the SEC than Texas A&M. SEC controls football, controls baseball. Other ADs and leagues fight against the SEC winning basketball. Just a thought.
And I would not discount that either. I would think that's very likely too. But again, some teams get left out after they lose their conference tournament, even if they've had a strong year. And I went and looked at Davidson. And their best win was that 1-point win over Alabama. That was it. Again, A&M blew them out. I know they're like 27-6, but again, you got to factor in who they played.
Sure, because they held it against A&M. They absolutely held it against A&M.
So, and then I heard Feinbaum talking about A&M losing to Texas Southern. I said, no, they didn't. That was last year.
They said that?
Yeah. No, they lost to TCU, and they lost to Wisconsin, and then they had the 8-game losing streak.
That's it.
And then one time to
Vandy,
and then the last one. But they didn't lose to Texas Southern. So, but that said, that Feinbaum was actually one of those that was incredulous that A&M didn't get in.
Chase in Houston, don't worry, OB. Burnett is retiring as a Southland AD and won't even have that job by the time this tournament is done.
Well, then he went out in a blaze of crap.
Yeah.
Not glory. Because
big blaze of crap.
Because, that was a terrible job to put. Go ahead and look at, compare the resumes of, say, Notre Dame and A&M. And it's, everything is pro A&M. And then on top of that, A&M beat them head to head. There's no way that you could look at Notre Dame and A&M and make a educated decision.
You can't
to take Notre Dame and
cannot.
Indiana.
You cannot. And I'm not saying that those schools necessarily don't need to be in. I mean, I don't think they should be in over A&M is what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of metrics out there of why this team should be there and why not. I just know that A&M's a tournament team from the resume stacked up against each other and what I saw on the court at the end of the season. Now, would I have said that a month and a half ago? No, but guess what? That's why we have a whole season. and the entire season, and they fix things. And I think that should count for something for a team to find its identity, win, and be rewarded for that.
Yeah, back a few years ago, they used to put an emphasis on their last 10 games. Obviously, they don't do that anymore.
No, that's unfortunate. All right, right now I want to talk about Christine Engler, the Aggie Loan Expert. Check out the website, AggieLoanExpert.com. She's class of 97. She's not only an expert, very nice person, and her business is going to help you guys here if you're looking to, buy a new home and have a mortgage rate. You want to refinance. There's so many different things out there that you can do with her. How are you supposed to get by with everything costing so much? Yes, gas keeps going up, and that's not the only thing going up out there, guys. And here's an idea. Mortgage rates are still near all-time lows, and because of that, you can get an easy refinance, and her clients on average, talking about Christine's clients, saved an average of over $350 a month last year. So start saving today. She's going to take care of you. Apply online for your easy refinance at AggieLoanExpert.com, where terms and conditions do apply out there. She's guided so many people through very difficult loan processes and will make it done fast. She'll get it done for you as soon as possible. Terms and conditions apply. Christine Engler, Aggie Loan Expert, NMLS number 1309378, company NMLS number 1324641, equal housing opportunity.
His playlist might have Oasis, Bad Bunny, and Kanye, but he's thinking about his Aggies all the time. It's David Nuño and TexAgs Radio on The Zone.
Is your business expanding? Eagle Support Services to the rescue. Proudly located in College Station, their full-service warehouse offers both short and long-term inventory storage. They can also kit your merchandise and ship it nationwide, providing an all-in-one fulfillment solution. For your warehousing and fulfillment needs, visit EagleSupportServices.com. That's EagleSupportServices.com. Eagle Support Services. Local storage, nationwide fulfillment.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
J. Cody's Steaks and Barbecue, Latino Hand Car Wash and Detail, Rocks Discount Vitamins, and Kolache Rolfs. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
The flagship station for Aggie athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors. Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, The Sleep Station, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Go now to zone1150.com. Make your picks now in Zone Madness presented by Aggieland Green. It's a $1,000 first place, winner-take-all grand champion. There's a second chance bracket. There's a third chance bracket. $1,000 first place. Get the healthy lawn you deserve, guaranteed. Call the pros at Aggieland Green because it's more than just grass. Zone Madness presented by Aggieland Green is brought to you in part by Baked or Fried and Superior Auto Service.
Good morning.
Good morning. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, can you make a request for the next segment? What song would you like to hear?
What song would I like to hear? Gosh, anything by Tom Petty.
Tom Petty.
Or Bob Seger.
How about this? Tom Petty, Bob Seger, next 2 segments, even though you won't be on for one of those. Unless you want to. You can always hang out here.
Yeah, all I got to do is my expense report, which is probably going to take quite a while.
Well, that's going to take a while for being gone. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So, OB, sometimes I read things and I just like to respond. It's kind of like when I get a text message from, I don't know, some necessary evil people out there and I got to respond to them. Or I read an article about A&M football that kind of just gets me going. So I'm going to read the title of this one, okay? 5 teams to improve their 2022 college football playoff chances through recruiting. Okay? It's an ESPN article. I'm going to read you the teams that are on this list, and then I'm going to go to the A&M portion of it, and that's where I had some issues with it. Clemson, one of the teams. Okay, well they can benefit from that every year. Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, gig them. Ohio State. Okay. Can't every team benefit from recruiting?
Well, yeah.
The Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
And the Baylor Bears. Okay, a lot of Texas teams. But let's go to the A&M part of this article. And the part that caught my attention was this isn't a team that was 10-2 the past couple of years. In fact, this team hasn't won double-digit games since 2012. This begs the question, how close is Texas A&M really to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Clemson? And can this class close the gap quickly? So a couple of fact-check points I'd like to make here. They're pretty close to Alabama since they beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama.
Okay,
yeah.
and that was with Zach Calzada at quarterback. Okay. They've played Clemson super tight. The couple times they played them during Jimbo's era. They haven't beat them, but I think that they've closed the gap there. And by the way, this isn't a 10-2 team. Actually, no, they're better than 10-2. They were 9-1 in an all-SEC schedule.
There's a certain word that you're not supposed to use anymore. It sounds like regarded. Like you're regarded as, and that's just, I have to say that article, I regard that article as ridiculous because, well, but you know what?
It's just writing the right.
We talked about it last week when I was on the interview with some guy in Alabama, and they said, well, A&M hadn't won, 10 games. And I said, they were 9-1. That's very misleading. They were 9-1 against an all-conference schedule just 2 years ago.
An all-conference schedule and 90% wins, right? That's the math, right?
Yeah.
So if you apply 90% wins to a 12-game schedule, would that be at least 10 wins? I think it would be.
It would be more than 10 wins,
exactly.
I would imagine. So it's today's journalism. It's not about taking the time to, well, you know what? I might have to write an extra paragraph to explain.
Right back to the thing that we read earlier, yes.
But we were talking about doing something in reaction to something changing. That hasn't changed. That's just being lazy. Who wrote it?
Let me just scroll up.
Yeah, see, that's one thing that we say is.
Oh, and it's a guy that I like, too.
Is it the guy from Kilgore?
No, it's Tom Luganbill.
Oh, Luganbill.
Who I like. I know. I like Tom. He's come on the show. I like him. I thought it was just ESPN. But regardless, come on, man. Yeah, they haven't won 10 games because there was a 10-game season where they lost to Alabama 2 years ago. And last year wasn't a great year.
With a backup quarterback, and they were in every game, and still beat Alabama. So, but fine, you have A&M on the list. You should, with them having supposedly the best recruiting class ever. And quite frankly, I don't know what Baylor's. I have to admit, I didn't pay that much attention to Baylor's recruiting class. But Texas, I get it. Texas supposedly.
But don't they do that every year?
Yeah, but this year they supposedly brought in some offensive linemen. And what I think is, I would even almost pick Texas, except that's
they're Texas.
But
Texas should win the Big 12 next year
because Oklahoma, half their team is left, and Oklahoma State had some big losses. Baylor had some big losses. So if you can't win it next year, I mean, the Big 12's never that good anyway. If you can't win it next year,
well, you know what we're gonna get, right? We're gonna get an A&M Texas college football playoff matchup.
I thought we might get an A&M Texas NCAA basketball tournament.
By the way, I take Texas A&M in that game.
I can see that.
I know.
Maybe Kansas is going to win the Big 12.
Hey, they're close to Texas. They're better than Texas. What am I saying? Look, I get it because at this time of year, you're looking for ways
What if that walk-on tight end's still there, or if he's moved on?
I think he's moved on.
Oh, well, okay. Then maybe Kansas won't win then.
He might be there. I don't know. Actually, I just made it up. But I get it. Being in a content creating role that we're both in, like this time of year, you're looking for different ways to present a story, but it's not hard to fact check. It's not hard to read. It's not hard to research. Not hard. It's right there.
When you're at ESPN or CBS or some of the national outlets that attract most of the traffic there, take the time to say, A&M actually won 9 games in a 10-game season. So, did they not win 10 games? That's true. How many teams won 10 games in 2020? Right? How many?
I'm assuming Bama, and Georgia, and whoever else made the college football playoffs.
You can look at it and say, well, some teams didn't win 10 games, even though they did play at least one non-conference game. Like the Big 12 still played a non-conference game.
Right.
So it's just, that's lazy and misleading.
It is misleading. Chase in Houston says, not so fast on the A&B text line. Texas winning the Big 12. Oklahoma State may be the best team in the conference this year.
Maybe, but I'm certain Oklahoma State's going to have some significant losses. Texas has probably maybe the best receiver in that, or one of the best receivers. They got maybe the best running back. And now they got Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm just not a fan. Not at all.
No, well, Texas gets built up every year. I'm just saying the Big 12 is such a mess. Maybe that, maybe that'll be the year Texas wins, and then they'll chant SEC, and all those things.
Look, super early. I think this Texas A&M team, regardless of the quarterback position, is going to be a monster to deal with.
I think Texas A&M, I hear people talk about A&M and they say, man, in 2023 is their year. And I can understand the rationale behind that. You're going to have a really experienced offensive line. You're going to have a quarterback, in theory, that has played an entire season, yada, 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 yada. Those new offense, those kids from this year's recruiting class will be sophomores, which is when everybody plays now. So I understand the logic behind that, but I see no reason not to feel like you can win it all this year.
I don't either. The only thing that I will say is I think Alabama's going to be pretty good again because they've got Bryce Young coming back.
Yeah.
Georgia obviously has a lot of their pieces coming back. They're going to be excellent. But there's nobody else in the SEC that scares me. And I'm not, and those teams don't scare me either. I'm saying we're getting to that level or are at that level. But I don't care what changes they have made at Ole Miss. Arkansas is getting a little bit better, but I think A&M is going to be significantly better with the better coach.
I think, I agree with that. I mean, you look at A&M and you say, okay, I'm going to be concerned about the defensive line. Okay, you did lose a lot in the defensive line, but look who you've got coming in. Now, until they do it, there's got to be a certain amount of apprehension, but you've got guys that you feel like are going to play at a really high level.
So I saw this yesterday, and I didn't want to respond, but when you look at A&M athletics this calendar school year, what do you think?
Oh, I think they've had a so-so year this year. A&M, the football team, had a reason that it was disappointing, but it was disappointing nonetheless. Basketball.
Reason to be optimistic, but didn't make the tournament?
Didn't make the tournament. Has a reason for it. And, well, no, there is no reason for it. They should be in. But, they had the 8-game losing streak and things like that. But overall, okay. Baseball still wait to be seen. Women's basketball was disappointing. I got to admit, I I don't know exactly about volleyball, but I think they've struggled.
They struggled a bit, yep.
Soccer, I think, struggled.
They did.
So I think what you had is some teams in a transitional year.
Yes.
And some teams with some bad luck.
Yep. I think you're exactly right. So outside looking in, not knowing what A&M went through this year, doesn't look like a good year athletically, right?
Those horse riders are doing well, though.
Horse riding is looking great, absolutely, right?
I know they probably don't like me saying it.
We had 3 indoor champions this past weekend in indoor track and field. But I also look at this year as the step for next year because basketball is going to be a tournament team next year. I'm pretty sure of that. If this core stays together, they're on the way toward that. Football is – I'm sorry.
Basketball needs to get bigger.
They do. And they got some they got some growing to do, but the way they played down the stretch of this season should get everybody excited, especially depending on how they do this in the NIT. Regardless of how they do in the NIT, you should be excited about what basketball is going to look like next year.
Okay.
On the women's side of basketball, there's going to be a new coach. I don't know. I say TBD, but it's going to be better than this year because this was a rough year. Football is going to be better. We know the reasons.
I believe so.
100% better. Baseball is going to be better because it'll be year 2 of
They may be
Schloss.
better this year.
They may be better this year. This is a necessary year to get to what we all need to see. Not the results we wanted to see so far, but going through it next year will be
Would
better.
you rather be in LSU spot?
They fired Will Wade and they fired Ed Orgeron.
Basketball is doing well, but football was a disappointment. They fired their coach. Basketball, they're in the tournament. They're kind of limping in, and they fired their coach. Baseball, they got a new coach, right? So that's a TBA. So every program, typically or almost every program, will go through transitional years. It just seems like for A&M, everybody's having them at the same time.
The exact same time, which is unfortunate. But again, though, because we're close, and I don't think this is maroon-colored glasses, because we're close, we see the reasons why. And reasons why don't necessarily mean it's okay, right? We're not saying that this was it's okay to go 8-4. We're not saying it is okay to not make the NCAA tournament. We're not saying it's okay for women's basketball to be down. We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is there are reasons certain things have happened this year, and there are reasons to think next year for all sports are going to be a significant upgrade.
Yes, I agree with all of that. There are reasons, and many reasons to think A&M is going to be better. And again, there were in some cases some very definite circumstances that were just unfortunate, that bad luck. And I'm talking about the situation with Haynes King. I think A&M might have won the West this year had they had Haynes the whole year, if he was going to be the type of quarterback that Jimbo Fisher thinks he is, because they lost. I'll put it this way. Substandard quarterback play was a major factor, if not the number one factor, in losses to Arkansas, Mississippi State, and perhaps I don't know if it was an LSU because you had the lead, even though and Ole Miss.
So I'm looking at some of the Zach Calzada stats from last year. In the last 4 games, and some of this because he was sacked a lot, but last 4 games, negative 23 yards rushing, negative 11 yards rushing, negative 10 yards rushing, and then he had 8 yards rushing, then 0 the game before that. So I think regardless if Haynes King throws interceptions, because that's the one thing people are saying, in games that early season off receivers' hands. But let's just say he was turnover prone. He's going to rush for 40 to 80 yards a game.
Well, I think if he's turnover prone, he's not going to be the quarterback very long.
Sure. And you know what? This year if you have a quarterback, if last year there would have been options, A, they would have rested Zach when he was injured a little bit more, and B, when they struggled against Arkansas, when they struggled, against Mississippi State, there could have been a quarterback change.
Right, but they did not have an option.
They didn't. So. And this year they have 3.
Yeah.
They have 3. And one has done it at a high level in the SEC. One we believe will do it, and one's for sure going to do it here soon in Connor Wegman.
They have a good quarterback situation, no doubt.
And a great wide receiver situation, too.
And I think the wide receiver situation is going to be excellent.
And a great offensive line, potentially.
I think the offensive line is going to be better in 4 or 5 positions, and I still think they're going to be even more productive And that's blasphemy to say. I think they're going to be even more productive at running back.
Yep, I think so as well. Right now, caller number 1, we're going to give you a free car wash from Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station off of William D. Fitch in Greens Prairie. They're Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and the personal touch. They offer monthly memberships, but we'll give the first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station, 979-693-1150.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. With an easy refinance, save over $350 a month. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Troop Over the Hill presents a humorous, family-friendly show, An Irish Swine Patch. Performances are Friday through Sunday. Make your reservations at TroopOverTheHill.com. Registration is now open for the Bike MS Texas MS 150. The 2-day race starts April 30th and ends at Kyle Field. Register at bikemstexas150.org and use code Aggie25 for 25% off your registration fee. The Salvation Army in Bryan College Station has received a generous donation to set up an educational scholarship. Find out more about the Bauer Family Estate Scholarship and apply online at salvationarmybcs.com. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Question: would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Be a part of the 22nd Annual Twin City Mission Golf Classic on Monday, March 28th at the Traditions Golf Club. All the money raised goes towards the programs of Twin City Mission. Programs like homeless and housing services, domestic violence services, youth and family services, donation and resale services too. Be a part, be a sponsor, get involved. Go now to TwinCityMission.org. Sponsors are welcome, TwinCityMission.org.
From the Combine.
The central storyline of this Combine and a sea of storylines about to unfold.
To free agency.
Jarvis Landry, he's at a point in his career where he should look to team up.
To the NFL Draft.
We focus in on the quarterbacks. The draft is generally defined by those guys.
The NFL season never ends.
Listen in to ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio, 1150 and 93.7 FM.
There was a time when I worked for the Mavericks that I thought Steve Nash looked like a young version of Tom Petty. The way he did his hair.
Hair, I can see that.
And just something with some of the facial expressions.
But Nash kind of a handsome guy, right?
I mean, I wouldn't.
The Spice Girls thought so. Didn't he date a Spice Girl?
He dated a lot of girls in Dallas. That I remember.
I don't know that Tom Petty was ever looked at as being a particularly handsome guy. He was just cool.
Who's more successful, Steve Nash or Tom Petty?
Oh, Tom Petty.
They're both pretty successful.
Tom Petty was probably one of the greatest of all time in his field.
Yeah. Is Steve Nash going to go to the Hall of Fame? Yes.
Yeah, but is he one of the greatest of all time in his field?
Top 5 point guards?
Ever?
I don't think so. I'm just trying to think. Where is he in the echelon of point guards? I don't know how we got here, but top 10?
No.
No?
Ever?
Statistically? MVP? Never won a championship, but neither did John Stockton.
Who would you take, Stockton or Nash?
I'd take Nash.
Okay, because you like the scoring more.
I mean, Stockton during those days, there was nobody better, right? But I'm just a Nash guy.
Okay, so it's a biased opinion.
It's a biased opinion,
okay.
yeah. No, and I know Steve a little bit. So
I like Steve Nash. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying ever in college.
No, he's not better. He's not ever. I mean, he's not. And honestly, I feel like
Walt Frazier.
NBA today is so like the numbers are so skewed.
Right.
Like the guys that we watched in the 80s and 90s, like those numbers don't even compare anymore.
Yeah.
Look what LeBron's doing right now. Like he's about to be the all-time leading scorer ever in next season.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for 20 years, so I'll give him that. Anywho, I want to ask this. I want to bring it up real quick before we have to go here. SEC is going to have a lot of coaching changes, either because people are leaving, but Mike White to Georgia, leaving Florida.
Man.
Tom Crean was fired. Frank Martin fired yesterday. Will Wade fired on Friday, I think it was. It's been a while since we had. Quanzo Martin fired. Ben Howland, gone. So we put that all together. That's a lot of SEC. And Billy called it like 10 days ago this was going to happen.
5 coaches fired. Or changing jobs.
So let me ask you this. Do we underappreciate Buzz?
Yeah, do we underappreciate? I can look at our message boards. I don't get it because they're saying, it hadn't been to the tournament yet. Well, one year they might have gone, his first year when he was coach of the year, because they were surging going into the SEC tournament, just like they were this year. So who knows what would have happened, but they called it off.
Right.
So how can you say, well, he's had 3 seasons? Well, one of those years they didn't even have a tournament. And then last year was the whole COVID thing, that they lost a full month of the season.
Right.
And then because of COVID, they didn't really have a chance to do recruiting as you normally would or develop players. So I don't even think that should matter. And then this year, they should have been and got hosed. And yet there are some that are saying, well, you know what, he should be on the hot seat. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Not on the hot seat. No, there's nothing. I understood during the 8-game losing streak if that would have extrapolated the rest of the season would have gone that way. But
it did not.
It did not. You got to look at the totality of the season.
Absolutely.
And that goes for message boards and also for the NCAA selection committee. Thank you very much, OB.
You bet.
Coming up next on the show, Billy Lucci will be joining us. We've got some football to talk about. We've got some basketball to talk about. We've got some life to get into. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Texas for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Texas, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Your home for Aggie baseball. From the first game to the last game, Homer Road is Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus online at radioaggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. College Station police responded to a report of gunfire early yesterday morning at the Riverwalk Apartments on Valley View Drive. According to the CSPD tweet, investigators believe it's an isolated incident and no one was injured. Contact CSPD if you have any information. Solar panels are gaining popularity. BTU Public Information Officer Megan Brown recommends contacting them before installing new solar panels.
Or if they have some questions, sometimes if it's too good to be true, it might be. So we just want to make sure they get the correct information from us, exactly how BTU's process goes and what their payback might be.
Brown says you can call BTU with your questions or visit them online at btutilities.com. United Way of the Brazos Valley is hosting a new fundraiser to help meet their campaign goal. President Allison Prince says they've partnered with Lions Pride Sports for Fight to Unite, a professional wrestling show on Saturday, March 26th.
We do have a VIP experience that evening for that you can add on to your ticket sale, where you can come and meet the wrestlers as well as meet our featured guest, I guess you could call him, and that is Mark Henry. He is a former WWE Hall of Famer.
This week only, VIP tickets are half off. Find more information about Fight to Unite and purchase tickets online at uwbv.org. Volunteer fire departments struggle with the cost of rising fuel.
Fuel prices are affecting all of us, but they're especially eating up the tiny budgets that volunteer fire departments already face. So please wait to burn outdoors until conditions improve, certainly after the wind dies down. Bosque County Office of Emergency Management with a reminder to have water on hand for projects that require a spark, such as welding, and to think about a gas card donation to your local VFD. Val Dior, TSN News.
For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Is your business expanding? Eagle Support Services to the rescue. Proudly located in College Station, their full-service warehouse offers both short and long-term inventory storage. They can also kit your merchandise and ship it nationwide, providing an all-in-one fulfillment solution. For your warehousing and fulfillment needs, visit EagleSupportServices.com. That's EagleSupportServices.com. Eagle Support Services. Local storage, nationwide fulfillment.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, fighting TexAgs class of '83, with some exciting news. Verabank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, Verabank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Verabank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hilcosupply.com. Texas A&M baseball's matchup against Houston tonight has been moved up to 5 o'clock at Bluebell. Broadcast will be right here on The Zone. Meanwhile, softball is also changing its game time with Sam Houston State. The Aggies and Bearcats duke it out at 5 o'clock at Davis Diamond with coverage on Gospel 97.3 FM. A&M men's basketball will be over at Reed taking on Alcorn State in the first round of the NIT tournament. Now, it looked as if the Maroon and White might have played themselves into the NCAAs with a strong run at the SEC tourney, but the committee had other ideas. Athletics Director Ross Bjork on TexAgs Radio.
You know, the shock and the disappointment and the anger and the frustration and all the emotions that we went through as we're sitting in that room watching it all unfold, it was a very, very disappointing end to a phenomenal week, but we can't forget that part of it.
The Aggies match up with Alcorn State tonight at 8 o'clock. Admission is free to the public, and broadcast is on 1620 94.5 WTAW. And 4 members of the 21st-ranked men's golf team sit inside the top 10 following the first 2 rounds of the Louisiana Classics. As a team, the Aggies are 34 under and lead number 25 LSU by 15 strokes. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Here at The Zone, we like to hook you up with tickets to all the places that you want to be. And it can be Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Schlitterbahn, or maybe seeing your favorite bands in concert. It's Chili Fest time of the year. And if you'd like to win a pair of tickets to go to both nights of Chili Fest, the Randy Rogers Band, Co Wetzel, and so much more, go register now at Gage Gandy Bail Bonds. If you'd like to win a pair of tickets to Chili Fest, go register now at Gage Gandy Bail Bonds.
remember standing on a corner at midnight, trying to get my courage up.
It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. And let's go right to the BCSI hotline. Billy Lucci is joining us here this morning on there. Good morning, Billy.
Who's that, Bob Seeger?
Yeah, so Olin requested that at the end of the last hour. We have B-Scan working the show today.
It's bled into mine.
Yeah, well, poor OB got some, what did he get? He got some Kanye and something else earlier in the show because B-Scan doesn't have a playlist for us today. He's working the show today. He hasn't done it in a while, so the music feels a little off.
I'm getting Seeger. I'm getting Bob Seeger. We're going to see if he can pick up the pace in the rest of this hour.
Well, why don't you pick the music the rest of the way?
What's up, Dave? I might. Slow break, what are you up to?
I think I'm in a good place. Have I not been optimistic this morning?
Yeah, I've been listening. Been enjoying it. I'm on the road.
It's a really awkward silence there from both of us.
I guess you're just not going to say anything. What's up?
So, hey,
we got baseball tonight, basketball. We got spring football. We have a little break, and then we got pro day coming up. Busy few days.
Yeah, it is a busy few days. Look, man, I am ready to turn the page, but I'm having a hard time turning the page, especially since you and I haven't had a full time to talk about this on the air at least. But
yeah,
yep. But bottom line is, just go win the freaking NIT, man. Just go win the freaking NIT.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, here's my frustration with it. Well, I'm excited about this team playing more basketball. They deserve it. They earn the right, and I think if ball don't lie, they'll go win this tournament. I mean, it's like they deserve it. And look, there are some pretty good teams in this tournament. There's a couple teams that also had an argument that they should have been in as well. I mean, A&M's not the only one. I think A&M was the most egregious snub. But if you think the Aggies were in the position of schools like OU, SMU, that their fan bases aren't looking at their resume going, we should have been in too. Now, again, I think A&M not only should be at the top of the list of teams complaining, I think they should have been in over for at least like a handful of teams that were in at large. And I haven't even done the deep dive. There was one team. Who was the team? I was looking at like Miami's resume. And I was looking at what they've done, and it's just like, wait, what? Why? Is this? How are they not in the discussion? Like, you can go even further up the line, then you don't have to cut it off at Indiana and Notre Dame. You can keep going. If you really want to really torture yourself, go look at some other teams that were never propped up against A&M because they were just assumed to be in. I mean, the whole thing is just absolute trash. And then you see what Tennessee was seeded, and you see what Virginia Tech was seeded, and you realize that they really don't put almost minimal weight into these conference tournaments for those teams to be seeded where they were.
Billy, I really feel, and I mean this, and it was confirmed to me, it's a conspiracy theory, but I really feel that they turned in their brackets 3 weeks ago, and they just kind of looked at Sunday as, I'm just going to kind of glance over it to make sure everything's about where it needs to be, but not make any major changes. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about 3 weeks ago, but yeah, I mean, maybe prior to the weekend, yeah, I wouldn't argue with you on that. Look, these committees get it wrong so often, and then they're like, I said it yesterday on Feinbaum, they're like politicians, so they just sit up there and they put their hands up, or they sit up there and they answer a question, but they're not giving you an answer, and everyone in the room knows it's BS. But there they are, and there's nothing you can do about it. They've been elected in. You got to sit there and listen to them for 2 or 4, 20 years, whatever the hell they sit around and linger around for, and that's what these scabs on these committees do. And I just think it was very clear that they put way more weight to like numbers and stats than they do watching basketball. But then the part that frustrates me is even if you look at the numbers and stats, I don't understand how it says Texas A&M shouldn't be in, which makes me like wonder, did they hold the 8-game losing streak against them? And really not maybe the 8-game losing streak. I'm sure there was some idiot in there, some jackass that doesn't have to answer to me or you or anybody, because I'd love to get one of these jackass clown shows on TexAgs radio and grill them and make them look stupid, because there's nothing they can say, whether they want to go by their numbers or whether they want to go by, did you watch basketball? And there's nothing they can say. But somebody in that room probably said, well, that team lost 8 in a row. We've got to hold that against them. Why? Why would you? Somebody else should say, well, they went 15-2 to start the season, and they won 4 straight in their conference to start, and they finished on an 8 out of 9 streak before they lost to Tennessee in the championship game of one of the toughest. And I also think they knocked down the SEC more than they should have. My question is, where was Greg Byrne at in that room? What was his take on where A&M should be? I'd be really curious to see how the SEC representation fought for Texas A&M in there.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the other coaches were fighting for A&M. I love what I've heard from Rick Barnes, with Coach Cal before the tournament, others, Bruce Pearl. So, Billy, I kind of don't know a lot about some of the teams in this NIT, but I did look at A&M's journey to New York, and obviously Alcorn State, who lost to Texas Southern.
And by the way, hey Nuño, by the way, I think Greg Byrne, interesting, right? Because his dad was fired from there after an incredible run, mind you. But I don't know. Over time, I've never gathered that Greg Byrne had any kind of axe to grind with A&M. I've known him when he was at Arizona, Mississippi State, now at Alabama. I'm sure he's not happy about that football game this year, but I don't know how. I'm sure he's happy at every other one went. But I would think that he would be sitting there wanting the SEC to have more teams. And I would think, even just any common sense, which I've always known him to have, would say the SEC deserves 7. The SEC deserves 50% of its teams in this tournament if you're going to put 9 out of 14 in the Big Ten in. And you're going to tell me that the SEC can't even get half of theirs in? And the Big 12, who's really good as always, got 60% of their teams in, and Texas A&M the SEC didn't even get 50. The league got disrespected almost as much as A&M did.
Billy, so Alcorn State is coming up next, obviously, and they'll get past Alcorn State. I don't care about the tired legs, and they're going to win this game. And then up ahead is going to be the winner of Utah State versus Oregon. Oregon's got a very big front court. That could be an interesting matchup. And then it gets a little bit more difficult if they get through that. Wake Forest or VCU. VCU's got a great defense. Wake has got a huge forward in Jake LaRavia. And then a potential 1-seed matchup against SMU.
Forbes, the old Aggie. Steve Forbes, the old Aggie assistant.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, if you had to go through Oregon, Wake Forest, and SMU, that's I don't know if I'd use the word gauntlet, but Oregon and Altman, he recruits at an elite level up there, thanks to Nike. And then SMU, again, is a team that really had a gripe about being in, and Wake Forest was certainly on the bubble there for a while. So, yeah, that'd be quite a 3-game stretch there. I mean, they don't have to play really good basketball. They'll have to play like they've been playing to run through those 3 games.
And then waiting for them in the finals, if they were able to get through that, would be either Dayton a 1-seed, Oklahoma a 1-seed, North Texas a 2-seed, or Florida the 3-seed.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see an A&M OU final. I don't know if I want to see A&M Florida round 3, but that's one tough to see since they don't have a coach. That one will be tough to see how Florida will navigate that. But I'd love to see A&M OU in that championship. That would be a pretty good one.
Billy, one last thing on the NIT. I did some research here, and I looked at the last few NIT champions and what it meant for the following season. I think we all think A&M next year is going to have a nice year in basketball, and they'll be a tournament team. But I mean, kind of go ahead.
Well, I heard y'all talking about that, and I'll say this: you're going to lose Quentin Jackson. First of all, and when you talk about big shoes to fill, go back and watch the SEC tournament. And watch when maybe he had a little bit of tired legs on Sunday, and you saw such a huge difference when he couldn't quite be that catalyst, although he did kept getting to the line, and that was the way, and then kind of hanging in there. But they've got to get Boots back for one more year. I know he got eligibility. Boots has been around for a while. He could probably go make some money overseas. This is where NIL stuff kicks in. Any Aggies are listening. This is where NIL stuff kicks in. They've got to bring back guys like Boots, Coleman, without question, Wade Taylor and Manny Obasky. Now, listen, I'm not saying those guys are unhappy in any capacity, but I think you're either a fool or a damn fool if you don't think that two young guys that are really talented freshmen at a non-basketball powerhouse that proved themselves at the highest level this year, particularly Wade, but, Manny's starting down the stretch and was a 5-star recruit. And so they haven't transferred yet. If you don't think those guys are getting recruited right now behind the scenes by every power program in the country, you're crazy. So A&M's going to have to hold this deal together and add a couple of pieces. And I think at least one, I heard Olin say they got to get bigger, at least one impact front court guy, a really good one, one of the better ones out there. Go get a proven major conference guy or a guy that was an elite level recruit coming in. So before I'm ready to say they're going to be really good next year, they need to do that. But if they bring back those 4 guys with the culture that Buzz has now, I think, got rooted in, and go add 1 or 2 key pieces in the portal, then I think they could be actually really good. But there is an order of business there. I think this team would have a hard climb if they lost both Q and Boots in terms of just snapping your fingers and being back.
Okay, well, let me follow that up with this. All the openings in the SEC, I think Saturday Down South had a column on the LSU opening, and one of the targets that they could potentially go after is Buzz. Do you see SEC schools calling Buzz after this past season?
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Because wouldn't it suck if because stock went way up because of this run, yet it wasn't even good enough to get A&M in the tournament in the committee's eyes, and you even would have kind of get robbed of that Billy Gillespie thing, where at least you got to a Sweet 16 right before he left. Because trust me, I think this team was playing on the second weekend, and I know they could have lost game 1 or game 2 or the play-in, but I think the way they were playing, with the confidence they had, and how focused they were, eye on the prize, I think they would have been playing in the second weekend. I think this was a Sweet 16 team. And then you just see what your bracket looks like, maybe you get lucky, maybe you get an upset. But I think this was a team that was going to play in the second weekend. And look, in terms of Buzz, do I think he's coming back? Yes. Do I think other teams will pursue him? Yes. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But here's the flip side of that, Nuño, where I thought maybe you were going. The flip side of that is, how about all those openings in the SEC, and you go down the list of players that are going to kind of be looking around that are attainable for a coach like Buzz at a school like Texas A&M. Now it gets interesting when you tie in what I had just been talking about with that X factor of nearly half the league turning over. And if you're Texas A&M, you're really out there searching for probably two impact guys. I think all of a sudden you're sitting here going, that shouldn't be that hard.
Got a couple of impact guys. Billy, we're going to put you on hold. We'll come back with more. We'll talk some football when we come back. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. As a reminder, you can text the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. Now a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. That's the place to get the deals. That's the place to go get great customer service. And obviously, the main reason you go check out Caldwell Country is for the vehicle, right? You want to get the best price on the best vehicle possible. And you also want to get a great price on your trade-in. So you put all that together, combine that with amazing customer service and a staff that's going to find the car that you're looking for at the lowest price possible and give you the best price possible on your trade-in. You got to go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's the place to go, especially on the website. When you start your journey and you start your search for the kind of car that you want, start there, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com, because they got new deals every month and they always put really good deals out there. It's not a far drive either from Bryan to Caldwell, about a 15-minute drive, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with Zach there and the fellas. It is Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. The Brazos County Master Gardener Spring Plant Sale is Saturday, March 26th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Brazos County Extension Office. Bring your wagon and load up. Join United Way of the Brazos Valley, Lions Pride Sports, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, at Fight to Unite on Saturday, March 26th. This week only, get your VIP experience tickets for 50% off. Go online to uwbv.org. The Museum of the American GI invites you to their Living History Weekend, March 26th and 27th. Visit AmericanGIMuseum.org for more information. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Howdy, this is Brad Beard with Intercon. You would not buy a car, boat, or major appliance if the warranty only covered material, leaving you to pay labor, freight, and other charges. So don't make the same mistake when making a window or glass purchase. With many players in the window industry, limited warranties are truly limited. At Intercon, the warranties we provide cover 100% of the cost to get the product performing as it should. The labor and freight charges on other vendors' warranties can add up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Ask questions about other warranties offered. What costs are not covered? Are they transferable? What happens if a vendor goes out of business? Intercon does not represent any fly-by-night manufacturers who change their name and product line continually. We have long-standing relationships with our vendors and offer the best warranties in the business. Years down the road, Intercon will still be in the Brazos Valley, making sure the product we sold you lives up to expectations. Call Intercon and get the best product at the best price with the best service.
When it comes to windows for your most valuable asset, trust your local friends and neighbors from Intercon. Call Brad Beard with Intercon at 823-3639. That's 823-3639 for Intercon today.
Get ready for the St. Joseph Health Grand Fondo Ride. Sunday, April 24th, cycle with hundreds of riders through the Brazos Valley countryside. The Grand Fondo Ride is presented by the Stella Hotel and Lake Walk. All proceeds raised from the event will benefit St. Joseph Health Cancer Center. Registration is now open at bcsgrandfondo.com. Log on today to register or sign up to volunteer. Cycle, hope, inspire at the Grand Fondo Ride, Sunday, April 24th.
Want to win $1,000? Go now to zone1150.com. Play now. Zone Madness presented by Aggieland Green. First place grand champion, $1,000. Enjoy a thick green weed-free lawn from Aggieland Green, proudly serving College Station and Bryan for more than a decade. Play now. Zone Madness presented by Aggieland Green at zone1150.com. Zone Madness brought to you in part by Wings and More, Dixie Tire, and Gold Star Barber Studio.
Reach out, touch faith.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go back to the BCSI hotline with Billy Lucci, the executive editor and co-owner of TexAgs. Little Depeche Mode, do you approve? Good times. Hi, Billy. All right, I guess we'll try Billy here.
There you go.
Hey, there he is.
There you go, David. How are you?
Hey, caller, hello.
As if you're not awkward enough, I had you muted just to double down on it.
Double down on the. But hey, there is, I feel like, a little bit of a delay between us on the call. That's why there's been some awkward silence.
You blame the delay, but I'm not sure I believe it. Like, tell me when you hear it. Immediately when you hear this word, repeat me.
Repeat me. Dalton.
It was immediately.
Yeah, but what?
Ready?
Dalton. Now you do me.
It's a little delay.
You do me. Ready? Dalton.
Okay. Dalton.
See, there was like a 2-second delay there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's just really good radio.
It's not my fault. It's
No.
not my fault.
Did
That's
somebody
your
say
fault.
my name?
Hi, Dalton.
Oh, here he is. He's on. Dalton's on a natural delay.
I'm not Olin. I'm not tape delay Buchanan.
Hey, Billy, Christian Kirk, big deal yesterday. Pumped for him going to the Jags. I saw somebody tweet this, and I loved it. People talk about A&M wide receivers not making it. Look at some of the top wide receivers in football, and look at salary as well. You got Mike Evans out there. You got Christian Kirk getting paid.
Oh, I love it. I love it for both of them. I love it for Christian. I don't know if A&M needs to flex too much on that, with those being guys that didn't play under the current regime. You do that to some degree because it's just visibility for your program. But I think with Jimbo Fisher, I think you're going to see it with Nia Smith. You're going to see it with Evan Stewart, and who knows, maybe somebody in between. But certainly, I think those two are going to be. I think it's early to say on Evans, but I firmly believe that you got Chris Marshall coming in. So it's coming, and there's a bunch of other positions you could do that at right now too. And it never hurts to have superstars from your program, no matter where they were, who they were recruited by, and where they come from. Just like Tannehill and Vaughn and Miles. I mean, Dan Campbell and Dennis Allen. There's a bunch of them. So soon to be Aaron Glenn, I think will be a head coach soon. So all those things help. But for Christian, I'm just really happy for him. That's the guy. Everybody wants to talk about the 5 stars that, 5 stars don't pan out. Woe is me. Woe is me. What are we doing? Damon Demas, and you've got other fan bases that'll point to that and ignore all their sad sack, sorry ass 5 stars that lost 7 games. But what you miss is the Christian Kirks and Myles Garrett. Rarely do 5-star players pan out as perfectly as those two did. Christian Kirk, in his first actual game of college football, returned I believe it was a kickoff. It might have been a punt. Returned a punt for a touchdown against his team from his own backyard in Arizona State, and then late in the game clinched it with a long catch and run. So from day one, Christian Kirk was a star at Texas A&M. Quietly one of the best receivers ever to play here. He just wasn't a part of very many. He was part of a bunch of decent teams, just never anything like really good. But Christian was special. His work ethic was special. He's a great person while he was here at A&M, still is. And it's good to see him get that kind of money. He caught a lot of hell for it yesterday. Everybody's doubting the guy now, saying he's not worth it or whatever. But 2 things. Number 1, don't care, got paid. Number 2, I'm excited for him. Go out and prove it now. And number 3, hey, the rest of the receivers in the NFL can thank him then. Everybody's up for free agency.
Hey, Billy, how do you think the spring practice window will affect the transfer portal for A&M? Obviously, some guys may see what their playing time could look like, decide to leave. Also, A&M can evaluate what they have and look. Do you still think that maybe they look at linebacker, maybe they look at offensive line, or they just stand put?
No, I think there's a maybe, but it's got to be the right guy. And I really think they might have misplayed it if they don't go get a linebacker. I do. Like Edgerrin Cooper, we all love. Andre White's played a lot, and that's about it after that. I mean, you got Chris Russell, Terry and Lee. It's an important spring for those guys. You got Martrell Harris coming in. You got Ish Harris on campus now, who's actually impressed in the early going. But, I mean, I think it would be ideal if you had someone in here that could compete to start and walk in there with that type of situation. So, yeah, I could see them revisiting that, but it's still got to be a guy that's good. Like, it's got to be a guy that you feel like, okay, this is a starter. And then if he doesn't start because he got beat out and he's sitting there right off the cut line, you've got a backup that you think's really good. So, I would like to see them revisit that. Here's the interesting thing now. Every kid has missed the cutoff, and Greg Sankey has let people know in no uncertain terms that there will not be waivers. There will not be waivers. The kids miss the cutoff. Any kid that wants to transfer from an SEC school now will not be playing football at an SEC school next year. That date has come and gone. Now, the next date to watch is May 1st, I believe. I think it's May 1st, and that is the last day that any player can transfer and play college football, period, next year without sitting out. So they've got to be in the portal by May 1st. Here's my problem with this, and this is why they need to fix that rule. If you're a player that's got, like, real juice in a program, and now some coach can say, hey, you know what? You're in the portal. You are not playing or practicing here. You're not having any fun. But I just wonder, and I don't know the rule exactly. Maybe they can't. I just wonder what when the kid says, I'm going to go in the portal now just to keep my options open, but I'm going to stay in the program. So if I practice and do everything and play, like, I still want to stay, but I want to keep my options open, so I'm in there in the portal. Like, I don't know if there's a rule that says you can't do that, but if you can, then that's something that I think these agents and stuff will push for. And I'm going to tell you, as someone dealing with NIL, there have been some of these agent types that have been really easy to deal with, and there are some that have been an absolute nightmare, and it just makes me wonder if the players even are aware of what's going on. It is it's so frustrating. It just kind of just makes you just feel like demoralized about the state of affairs in college football right now. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's coming from someone that's dealt with it now for, 6-8 months. And I say that, and there's been a couple of them that have been, about half of them are incredible and super easy, and you go, oh, good, they're getting great guidance. And then the other half, it's just an absolute nightmare. And it's gotten to a point where I think you're going to see some of these entities say, okay, fine, well, we'll just NIL the next player then. And so it'll be interesting to see.
Billy, appreciate you. We'll talk to you on Friday.
That's it. That's the ender, Nuño.
Unless you want to keep going, we can push Logan out.
Can we work? No, I don't want to push Logan out. I just meant for that segment. Can we fix this delay?
Yeah,
y'all do have phone guests.
Just come to the studio.
I'm on the road. My life doesn't revolve around TexAgs Radio. That's why we pay you the big bucks. For everybody that wants to complain, let me send them a real firm, direct statement here. My life doesn't revolve around TexAgs Radio. It's enough that my life revolves around TexAgs, but we pay David Nuño the big bucks to host the radio show. I'm a guest. I'm on the phone today.
You are the face of TexAgs Radio, buddy. You are.
I am not.
All right.
That is you.
Well,
I'm on I-45. I'm actually going to get a haircut too while I'm gone.
My mom brought up your hair yesterday again, for the record. And it got silent.
Listen, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Everybody over 50
Yes.
Your opinion, even this Nuño, your opinion if you're over 50 on my hair or appearance does not matter. This is like putting lights in the walkway at Kyle Field and playing Power and Kanye coming out, getting really good on social media. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that for the people sitting on their hands in the stands, in the high dollar seats. We're doing that for recruiting purposes.
That is the gangster of love himself, Billy Lucci. Appreciate you, Billy.
Whatever.
Later. So awkward, that delay. Hate it. But I love Billy, though. All right, when we come back, Logan Lee. A little bit late, but that's all right, though. We'll, continue some basketball dialogue with Logan as we look ahead at the NIT. That and more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We once had Olin do push-ups on air for good radio. Go figure.
Are you ready?
Let's begin. TexAgs Radio with David Nuño. Weekdays on The Zone.
Get ready for the St. Joseph Health Grand Fondo Ride. Sunday, April 24th, cycle with hundreds of riders through the Brazos Valley countryside. The Grand Fondo Ride is presented by the Stella Hotel and Lake Walk. All proceeds raised from the event will benefit St. Joseph Health Cancer Center. Registration is now open at bcsgrandfondo.com. Log on today to register or sign up to volunteer. Cycle, hope, inspire at the Grand Fondo Ride. Sunday, April 24th.
Progressive presents Forced Metaphors about bundling your home and auto.
When you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, you get great savings and round-the-clock protection, which is as beautiful as looking your firstborn child in the eyes for the first time. Well, that's a bit much. Maybe it's more like looking your second-born child in the eyes for like the third or fourth time. Point being, the savings and round-the-clock protection are really, really magical.
Forced Metaphors, presented by Progressive. Bundle and protect today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
If you're a runner, walker, or interested in fitness, the right shoe makes all the difference. At Brazos Running Company, they are passionate about running and finding the right shoe for you. Brazos Running Company is a local, Aggie-owned and operated specialty running store with an outstanding selection of running gear and shoes, including sought-after brands like Brooks, On, and Hoka. They'll help you find the shoe that fits your stride and style. Brazos Running Company next to Kohl's in College Station. Save 10% in-store when you mention code TexAgs10. Get ready for the St. Joseph Health Grand Fondo Ride. Sunday, April 24th, cycle with hundreds of riders through the Brazos Valley countryside. The Grand Fondo Ride is presented by the Stella Hotel and Lake Walk. All proceeds raised from the event will benefit St. Joseph Health Cancer Center. Registration is now open at bcsgrandfondo.com. Log on today to register or sign up to volunteer. Cycle, hope, inspire at the Grand Fondo Ride. Sunday, April 24th.
So what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't